I've heard the stories, but still I never imagined this. The Full Metal Alchemist is just a little kid.
Don't call me little!
And ahoy everybody! What's up? Mr. Epic is back, and welcome back to the Mr. Epic Show. We already quite far on this, and I'm glad to be home. So yeah, obviously being home from my holidays, which is pretty nice for me, I have decided to make another video, as you can see. Get that rhyme. Unfortunately, due to my flight back home, I missed something I may have wanted to watch. The Paralympics opening ceremony. I do like sports, and I like anybody attempting to unleash their maximum potential. And, of course, I am Team GB. I'm sure they'll have a good time in Rio again. Now the problem is, we'll get less to see of them. That was a really bad pun intention there, because obviously the Paralympians have one certain, compared to their Olympic counterparts, disabilities. Is that still a politically correct term? I don't know. I honestly don't. But exactly that is what I think makes the Paralympics at least as interesting, if not even better than the Olympics. Due to their handicaps and disabilities, these people do have to take on the challenge of sport differently than their able-bodied counterparts, as I mentioned, in the Olympics. But today I want to talk about the possible advantages of even having, let's say, a prosthetic. A prosthetic isn't something you'd want to voluntarily have. I mean, come on, seriously, I wouldn't like anyone to get rid of my hand. I mean, look, I use this hand, I snip, and I don't want anyone getting rid of it. Shall I do the part of the video where I try to cut off my own hand? I don't think that'd be family friendly. I'm gonna leave the knife part out of this. I can spin it around a little bit, but apart from that, I'm not gonna chop off anything. No. No, you don't. Ah! No! No, you don't! No! Ah! Don't you dare! Now we have the knife out of the way, can I get back to my video please? About prosthetics. Some people are born without limbs or certain other body parts, and some people have to deal with losing the ability to use the attachment of their limbs or other body parts. Obviously a devastating experience. It is a hard thing for people to get their life back in order. But it is possible, and many people actually do make use of prosthetics. And I'm not talking about Captain Hook wooden leg and hook hand. No, I'm talking about state-of-the-art technology these days. Custom-made prosthetics for every person who desires one, and obviously can afford one. I may not be speaking of Edward Elric standards here. Okay, that is just awesome, and it's an anime, apart from that. But I'm talking about very, very sophisticated things. And I'm also here to speak of the possibilities of custom-made prosthetics for interested people and different designs. I mean, multi-tools, and I'm also not talking about Bionic Man either, but just something interesting. Let's get back to the fundamentals first. As I mentioned, prosthetics are state-of-the-art technology these days. You can do literally anything with them. You can have them what you like, how you like, what color you like, and all custom-made to your personal needs. Obviously, you have to consider what you want to do with them. If you're an Olympian, Paralympian, you have to consider getting a prosthetic which would suit your needs. If you're a sprinter, you need a prosthetic that can help you run faster and wouldn't break with the strain. So you need a lightweight but highly flexible and durable prosthetic, which we see in these not very human-looking prosthetics we see on the track these days. But apart from that, for the everyday user, you can get pretty much anything you like. There are some crazy creations out there. Obviously, the ability to have a prosthetic always depends on the kind of injury or the kind of need you have them from. Depending on how the situation is, if you're like a kid, or the way your limb has been amputated, or any other body part in this regard. Every prosthetic will be different for everyone, and there is not a really good general rule how they work, because as I already said, it is very custom. May I also mention that prosthetics can be expensive, and depending on how custom you want it, or if you prefer a basic one, the health insurances may only cover a part of it, so as I said, you have a big price to pay if you have to deal with something like this. Not just mentally, but also financially. Now, before you can even get a prosthetic, you'll be rated with a K level. But what is a K level? I don't know. BRB, I'm going to Google. Okay, I'm back again. Oh dear. Why did I admit that on camera now? I have no idea. But I had to look it up. So I will quote this now, as I cannot explain it better. And I will link the original source down in the description. A K level is a scale used by Medicare to rate your rehabilitation potential. Many private insurance companies follow Medicare's example to establish coverage guidelines. The K level is a rating from 0 to 4 to predict your potential success with your prosthetic. Why can't I pronounce that word? Basically, if you had a device and training to learn how to use it, would it work for you?
That is the question.
Would you be able to use it well? The K level is important because it is used by your insurance company to figure out what type of prosthetic, there you go, they will cover for you. Insurance companies that want to know what the prosthetics you receive will be realistic and functional. Your doctor will complete an assessment of your physical and cognitive abilities to determine your K level. The Amputee Coalition's National Resource Center can connect you with additional information and tools to help you understand what your K level means and how it might impact your prosthetic options. Yada 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 yada.
Yada.
But it's important yada. And obviously, depending on the injury or disability you have, it takes a while until you can even receive your prosthetic, as you need to heal before you can do anything with your body. So the question I also personally ask myself is, would it be difficult to learn how to use a prosthetic? Now obviously there will be certain skills everyone will have to learn. For example, taking care of the prosthetic, learning how to get it on and off, and obviously if it's a leg prosthetic, walking on different kinds of surfaces like stairs and stuff. It is highly advisable to do a therapy, a rehabilitation therapy, or therapy with therapists specialized in rehabilitation after limb loss and prosthetic surgery. A prosthetic is not for the weak body. You have to have a lot of power and determination and all the other good stuff to be able to use one effectively. So you better get exercising the certain muscles and body parts beforehand or after your surgery to get your body able to handle the prosthetic limb perfectly. And if you are affected by this problem, if you do need replacement limb, does that sound rude? Probably does. I apologize for that. But if you are affected by this problem, it is recommended to speak to other people because a shared burden is half a burden. And more experienced users of prosthetics can obviously give you neat tips on how to use it. So now with all the educational part by side, I want to talk about what I would think you could do with awesome prosthetics. As I said, it may be influenced a bit by fantasy and awesome stuff, but as I said, surely there's someone capable of doing this. Obviously the first thing that comes into my silly childish boy head, which you can see my hair is actually nicely done for a change, are combat prosthetics. Obviously bones and living tissue and veins will be replaced by electronic wiring, possibly hydraulic things, and however else you make these prosthetics work. So basically, if you have enough hollow space and depending on how you build your custom prosthetic, I'm sure you can fit a ton of good gadgets in there. Of course, as I said, referring to things like Robocop and Bionic Man and whatever the rest of those people are. But I'm sure it'll be sooner than later, but it'll be science fact and not just science fiction. A combat prosthetic must be durable, optimally bulletproof, and lightweight, but with enough mass balancing to pack a punch. What I would really love would be a kind of a combination with Wolverine claws and possibly small caliber pistols in your fingers. Obviously it'll be difficult to reload them, so try to, Okay, I need to explain myself here. Kind of snap them open and put a bullet in from the front. I don't know, it may sound weird, but that is my personal thought. I mean, considering how much you have here, you have to obviously consider that you have to keep the joints movable and flexible, so anything installed in there can only have a certain length. But considering that the joint starts about here, you can basically make a claw, for example, a retractable claw, at least this length. So if you add this length to the finger, at least you get claws that are at least that long, and that can surely pack a good punch. Internal finger pistols? Well, as I said, if you can just fold it open or something, and then you'd have like a barrel length of this much, and if you could somehow fit kind of a firing mechanism in there, simple one. I don't know, but it's just a personal idea. I'm sure there'll be a way to figure it out, even if the pistol would not be very effective. And obviously you need kind of a damper to prevent the recoil from hitting your arm and stuff like that. And why does this movement look so weird? I do not know. Should I just shut up? Yes, I should. So with that being your combat prosthetic, now I'd like to think of a everyday life, Swiss Army knife, multifunctional arm prosthetic. What I'm basically thinking of is that you can basically see if your lower arm was to be removed, you can embed anything in here. Surely you can get kind of a communications device, smartphone, I don't know, or smartwatch, I don't know. Stuff like that. I'm sure there would be ways to put something in there. GPS tracker, and as I said, stuff like that you may or may not need. Now the fingers would be the funny part. I mean, imagine the surprise at a party when you can just pull your finger off and you have a USB stick in it. Which is a reality. No joke. That actually already exists. Or you flip open your middle finger and you have a lighter in there. And in your pinky finger you have a little camera. And here, well, what do you put in there? You can just put anything in fingers these days. Just imagine the possibilities you could have if people would invest money into prosthetic research to make these things a reality. That is what I'd love. If I ever were to lose a leg, I just described my perfect prosthetic. So, with a bit of funding, I could possibly get it. Who knows? So everybody, these are my thoughts on prosthetics. As I said, hats off to anyone participating in the Rio Paralympics, as you have to deal with multiple burdens and with the success of sport. What do you guys think? Would you want your perfect custom prosthetic, and what would it look like? Feel free to comment them in the comments, and also while you're there, check out the description. I have tons of links in there. Hoping to reach out to some more viewers for now these days. I'm kind of in a recession. If you have any topic requests you want me to talk about, or any night call requests, or you need a song for your own video, I can make that all for you. Just comment them down there as well, and I'll have a look at it. I reply to every comment that is constructive or has a question. So, fire away. And until the next video, I will see ya.
Boom!